Exercise 18.8 is a relatively simple exercise about a common value auction. And a common value auction is an auction where all participants assign the same value to the object. So once they own the object, there's no disagreement about what the exact value of the object is. However, they may not know the exact value in advance. And in this case, the two buyers obtain each a private signal about the value of an object, and the signal can be either high or low with probability 0.5. And if both buyers obtain a high signal, then apparently the object is of high value and is worth 1. If both players get a low signal, or even if only one player gets a low signal, then the object is worth 0. So you need two positive signals in order for the object to be really a high value object. And then two questions. So what is the expected value of the object to a buyer who sees a signal L, and what to a buyer who sees or observes a signal H? And then there's also question B, but let's start with question A. So in this case, well, if you receive a low signal, then it doesn't matter what type of signal the other player will get, because in all cases you know for sure that the value of the object will be 0. If you receive signal H, then okay, your signal is good, but it really depends on the signal that the other person receives whether indeed the value of the object is equal to 1, because then also the other player needs to observe a high signal, and that happens with probability 1/2. So with probability 1/2 the object is really worth 1, but also with probability 1/2, independent of you receiving a high signal, the other player will receive a low signal, in which case there's only one positive signal in total, so the value of the object is equal to 0. So if you receive a low signal, then the expected value of the object to you is 0. You know for sure that it's really an object without value. But if you receive a high signal, then yeah, with probably 1/2 the other player also receives a high signal and the value of the object is 1. And with probability 1/2 the other player receives a low signal, in which case the value of the object is 0. So the expected value, conditional on you receiving a high signal, is equal to 1/2. And that's the first part of the exercise. And in question B, we suppose that buyers bid their expected value that we computed in part A. So if you receive a low signal, you bid 0. If you receive a high signal, you bid 1/2. And you need to show that they earn negative profits conditional on observing a signal H. So if you receive a high signal and you bid your expected value of 1/2, then on average you will make a loss. And this then is an example of the winner's curse, that if you receive a good signal, you tend to bid too high. So if your signal is low, then your expected value is low, so your bid is also low, and you will not win the auction. You will also not incur any expenses, so your expected earnings are equal to 0. If you receive a high signal, then your expected value of the object is equal to 1/2, and now you bid 1/2 as well. So this one should be equal to 1/2. And in that case, your earnings will be dependent on the signal that the other person observes. So if the other person observes a low signal, then you will win the auction, but the value of the object is 0. You need to pay 1/2 because that is your bid, so you incur a loss of 1/2. And in case the other player observes a high signal, then the value of the object will be equal to 1, and your expenses will be 1/2. So if you get the object, you will have a positive earnings of 1/2, but because the other player now also observes a high signal, that other player will also bid 1/2, and it will be determined by chance who of you will get the object. So we need to multiply the winning probability also with 1/2, because if both players receive a high signal, both will bid 1/2, and it will each will have a 1/2 probability of winning the object. Now, the chances that the other person observes a low signal is equal to 1/2. Also, the probability that the other agent observes a high signal is equal to 1/2. So we simply plug in all these values, do the multiplications, and then aggregate, and we get that your expected earnings, if you receive a high signal and you bid 1/2, which is equal to your expected value of the object, then on average you will make a negative return of -1/8. So if you follow this strategy, your expected surplus is equal to a negative number. So what should you do in practice? In practice, what you should do is to shade your bid. So you compute the expected value of the object, but you should never bid an amount equal to the expected value, but your bid should be somewhat lower than the expected value. And if you do that, you will be able to make positive expected earnings. But if you bid your expected value because you received a high signal, on average you will lose out. And this then is an example of a winner's curse. That completes this exercise, and in fact it completes all the exercises from the book that we will do in this course. So we're done.